Hello and welcome to another episode of Music and Words Unite. I am your co-host Troy, and with me I have my friend and co-host Mark. How you doing, Mark?
Hi.
Okay. And today we are going to be doing a track-by-track album review of this album right here, Fear of a Blank Planet, by the band Porcupine Tree. Now, Mark, this is one that you wanted me to hear, right? Why did you want me? Why out of all the albums you could have picked for me, why this one? I'm just curious.
So I kind of base stuff that I want you to hear off of stuff I'm listening to at the time. Um, I remember months ago you told me that you got this on vinyl and it kind of like stuck in the back of my head.
Mm.
So like after we started this channel, I've been listening to a ton more music because of that, and I came around to listening to Porcupine Tree's entire discography in the past couple weeks. And I remember that you had this on vinyl because,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my favorite album by them is probably In Absentia or this. It's
Mm.
tough to pick, really. But since you already had the vinyl for this, I figured, let's do that instead. You love progressive rock. You love
Mm-hmm.
progressive metal, especially. You like
Mm-hmm.
Dream Theater is your favorite band.
That's true.
Um,
That's true.
this is like this album is progressive metal. It's progressive rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of things that you really like weird time signatures, like chord changes. Like there's like Phrygian and Aeolian flavor, I think it's called on this album,
All
which is
right.
like I'm not super familiar with. That's more of like a music theory thing.
Okay.
You liked Raven That Refused to Sing, which is Steven Wilson's side project.
I did. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a good one.
you may like this more because I feel like this might be more up your alley. So,
Hmm.
um, this has you're a big fan of King Crimson. It's
Mm-hmm.
got Robert Fripp on it.
That's true. That's
You're a
true.
big you're a fan of Rush. I don't know how big of a fan.
I'm a fan.
It's
Yeah.
got an Alex Lifeson guitar solo on it.
It does. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got really everything you could possibly want.
All right. So let's get into it, Mark. Before we do, if this is your first time here, thank you. You know, Mark, I'm Troy. That's Mark, by the way. I think I said that already. But anyway, the way we do this isn't really a reaction video per se, but I have never heard it. Mark is very familiar with it. It's one of his favorites. So he asked me to listen to this and then kind of take some notes and do a track by track kind of review from a first timer. And we're going to play clips of each song, but we're not going to play the whole album. We're just going to play some clips. So that's what we're going to get started now. So I'm going to play a clip from the first song, which is Fear of a Blank Planet. And Mark, if you want me to play any other parts, you just let me know. All right? All right, here we go.
Sunlight coming through the haze. No gaps in the blind to let it inside. The bed is unmade, some music still plays. TV, yeah, it's always on. I flicker on the screen, I'm moving at your screams. I'm basking in the shit, blowing out of it. I'm stoned.
All right, so that was a clip from Fear of a Blank Planet. I want to go to maybe I have a timestamp here. 5-minute mark-ish?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Something
that's
like
where I
that.
was gonna go too.
Okay,
That's
all
where
right.
I was gonna go
Okay, let me
too.
play a clip from
Oh
that.
yeah, I gotta hear this
Okay.
riff, baby.
some clips from Favorite Blank Planet. So the way we do this is if one of us hasn't heard it, usually we go first, but then the other person, if it's their favorite, they can talk about it as much as they want. So, all right. So here's before I even give my review of this, Mark, the reason why I bought this vinyl before we even talked about it, before I ever listened to it, is because Porcupine Tree was a band that I was very aware of in the early 2000s and mid 2000s. I was on all the Dream Theater forums, the Mike Portnoy forums, all that stuff, and they were always talking about Porcupine Tree, right? And back then, I was at a different place in life than I am now. I'm much more open to things now than I was back then. I think I was much more closed-minded, to be fair, musically, and especially around rock and metal music. So I don't know why, but I tried to listen to it, not this particular album, but I tried to listen to Porcupine Tree back then, and it just never, I don't know, it didn't stick with me. And maybe it was because of the way that Steven Wilson writes melodies and sings. For some reason, for me, I was just either into more like soaring high vocals or like more aggressive vocals. But like this style, it just wasn't something I was listening to at the time. Point is, now that I got back into music and I said, okay, I need to go and discover all the things that I've been missing in life, right? I saw this record at the record store that we went to a couple weeks ago in Somerdale, New Jersey. And I said, man, Porcupine Tree, everyone says they're so good. Mark says they're good. I'm just going to buy the record and see if I like it, you know? And so that's how that came to be. So I'm glad you asked me to do this because it gives me a hard reason to go and kind of actually sit down and listen to it a few times. So I did listen to it a few times. And I will say this, Mark, the opening song is good. It's a good song. It has a kind of a catchy riff. The opening riff is kind of like in a 3/4. The first riff before it goes into a straight groove. So I just saw my notes from going over. That 5-minute mark, though, riff is awesome, right? It's really heavy. It's really aggressive. I thought that was really good. You know, lyrically, it seems like a concept album from what I was reading the lyrics through the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
About maybe, and I don't know if I'm not totally sure, and you can tell me, Mark, 'cause maybe you know more about it. I'm not totally for sure if it's a concept album of like one person's descent or if it's more just about the themes.
Yeah, it's more of the themes. It's like as a society as a whole.
Oh, I see. Okay. So yeah, so this song, you know, for me is definitely setting the stage for, obviously it's a concept album, right? So it's talking about blank planet, blank slate, right? That's what a note I had here. So think about this, right? When it seems like the more people are preoccupied by things like television, social media, video games, you're kind of, in some ways, disassociating from reality, right? And there's nothing wrong with disassociating from reality sometimes. Of course, you need that maybe as a human being, but to take a break, right? But I think what happens now with technology, maybe what this album is talking about, is alluding to, is too much of a good thing could be a bad thing. And it can be very bad in some cases, depending on how much you consume, right? And this was written in the mid 2000s to late 2000s, I think, right? And yeah, and I think it was applicable then, but I think it's much more applicable now, actually. So it's a little bit
absolutely,
yeah, much more. It's kind of a prophetic. So I think the idea of fear, what this song is talking about, of a blank planet, like fearing that human beings are going to disassociate and not really, you lose your humanity in some sense, right? You lose your drive to want to succeed, to want to try, and getting sucked into just, let's call it, things that are, how should I say this? Maybe I'm struggling to come up with the right word. Things that are just nonstop satisfaction. So for example, like pleasure, whether that's food, but this is not talking about food, but whether that's food, and that's in our society, we're constantly bombarded with constant social media, which is just triggering our dopamine responses all day. Yep. Video games, which are doing the same thing. And the news, which is essentially just another form of entertainment, which is triggering because it's not real news for the most part, most of the news. So it's just hyperbolic chamber of opinions that are being presented to somebody to piss them off one way or the other. So it's just like constantly sucking your brain in to where you it's like you're constantly being where you have to just take in all this stuff and you don't actually stop to think about anything that has to do with becoming a good person, potentially bettering yourself, right? It's just a bunch of distractions, and I think it's just getting worse and worse. And the last thing I'll say about it, I'll turn it over to you, Mark, as the more that AI gets involved, the more that virtual reality comes into play. I think it's only going to get worse, and maybe that's just what the album is really talking about, probably. So,
Yeah, I on that note, I weep for the future. With the advent of virtual reality, it's just going to be just out of control. I mean,
yeah,
AI is already out of control, and it's really only been established for a few years at this point. But
right,
the how drastically it's changed and how more real it is, it's mind-boggling to me. Um, but that's a different story for a different day. And this day we're doing an album review, so I have to stay on point here.
sure, go ahead.
But everything you
Yeah,
said is 100% true. This is a concept album. Um, how progressive of them to make a concept album.
right, right.
Um, yeah, I think you have to like to realize too, this was made in 2007. Facebook wasn't even really a thing yet. I mean, it was, but it wasn't popular. This is when you still had like MySpace and like LiveJournal and like archaic websites where you could express yourself.
Hmm.
And they wrote an entire album on this. So like we're, shift gears, we're what is it? How many years ago was this? 18?
Hmm.
18 years later, and it's way worse. And
Hmm.
like it's crazy to think that like when they wrote this album, they were probably like, how could things get worse with like these brainless children and like staring at video games all day and not having careers or any social life or just sitting inside all day. When in reality, 17, 18 years later, it's way worse than it was before.
Way
Um,
worse. Yep.
but to get back to the song, I think this song's awesome.
Hmm.
The riff that I had in my note is the exact same riff that you played at 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
A real crushing riff when it comes to like progressive rock, honestly.
Hmm.
Um, Steven's guitar on this album sounds incredible. Honestly, his guitar sounds incredible on every album. The
Hmm.
man, the man has a keen ear for guitar tuning and tone.
Hmm.
I love the way his guitar sounds. I actually not even 100% sure what kind of guitars he usually plays. Do you know offhand by any chance?
I don't. No, I'm not that familiar.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah, like everybody on this album, like Richard Barbieri, like he's been in the band forever. His keyboards are great. Um, Gavin Harrison, who is in was in King Crimson,
Hmm.
um, absolutely shreds on this album as well. I think this is an excellent opener. I just want to read one of the lyric passages here, just to like have relevance to what we're talking about.
Sure.
Because every time I hear it, I honestly I do think of myself in a way, not to the extent of what it says here, only just because like the first line kind of represents me like right out of high school.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Sure.
so the passage is the Xbox is a god to me.
Mm.
A finger on the switch. My mother is a bitch. My father gave up ever trying to talk to me. And
Mm.
that, not for me specifically,
Hmm.
because my dad, he's been gone for a while, but my mom, I have like the best relationship with. I'm super
Hmm.
close with my mom.
Hmm.
Um, After high school, I was obsessed with video games, played like World of Warcraft. That's like the worst time sink you could possibly have.
Mm.
Horrible. Don't recommend. But like I think of like, other kids in this situation, um, had that have a terrible home life and they're just in their rooms all day, staring at TVs, playing games. Even now with like Twitch and stuff like that, like it's even
Mm.
worse. Like
Yeah.
you have zero reason to leave your room now because you can go on Discord, you can hang out with people, you can go on Twitch and watch somebody else play video games. You can watch anything on your computer streaming. It's gotten so bad where I'm like I weep for the future and where it's gonna go. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, that's not what we're talking about here, even though this album is really bringing it out here. But
Can
I
I add
love the
something? Can I add something to what
yeah,
you're saying?
of course, of course.
So here's how bad it's gotten. Then I'll talk about what I think the solution could potentially be before we get to the next song.
Okay.
Who knows? You know, I don't know, but I'm thinking through things. I don't think anybody knows, to be fair. The here's how bad it's gotten. Our children are being essentially spawn camped. So if you play video games, you'll know what that term means. But because they don't have a shot, because the games now are engineered to be completely addictive. Like, it's not like the old days, right? Where I'm dating myself. But when I was a kid, I had a Nintendo, right? Original Nintendo. And you bought Mario Brothers. And it was a little bit addictive. But like, it was one cartridge. And it was like, you know, maybe the equivalent of $60 back then or whatever, right? And the point is, you can only play it so much. You know what I mean? Because it's just the same level over and over again. And you get better at it and then you move on, right? But now these games, the live service games that these kids are playing, are literally designed to suck up every moment of their day possible. To keep them coming back, to keep them get used to spending money as a revenue, whether that's in-game currency that translates to money, right? And so it's very predatory behavior. And that's what our kids are now. So it's worse than the Xbox days, actually.
Oh, way worse. Way worse.
It's way worse. So it's so bad that, and I was doing, you know, because Mark, you know, my daughter's almost 4. So I was doing some research on when my daughter was younger about like how much screen time should you give them? Is there any kind of research about screen time and learning patterns and things like that? And they really don't recommend much screen time for kids, you know, under 5 years old. Too much, you know. And even 5 is young, but I mean, when they're really young, when they're around 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, it's when their brain is developing the fastest and when they're learning the most. And if you start blank planning them with garbage like Cocomelon all the time because you want to be a lazy parent, then essentially you are really doing a disservice to your own kid. So the reason I'm doing that is because I'm speaking out of personal experience. So there would be times when, you know, you're busy, you're doing something, you're like, okay, just put the TV on or whatever, you know, and it's some garbage that's on that has no educational value at all. And that's designed to suck up their time. And my wife and I said, okay, we got to stop this. Like, this just not good. So we have a rule, for example, that my daughter gets no more than 30 minutes of screen time per day, no matter what it is. And the only exception is if she's taking like an online class for her age. So there's like a ABC Mouse, which is like an online class on an iPad. We let her do that. But other than that, like cartoons and stuff, she gets at max 30 minutes. And I don't know the solution, Mark. All I can tell you is the government's not going to save you. So the government is in cahoots with the corporations. So because of that, you have to save yourself. Like, I have an app on my phone, Mark, that's called Brain Rot. And I started using it on the weekends. And what it does is you can set like apps that are rotting your brain that you're spending way too much time on. And it literally won't let you use those apps. And then like it locks you out of it and you can set timings, you can do all that. And you can just use it to help yourself break out of your patterns of brain rot, right? So you got to do something for yourself, for your kids, because no one's coming to save you. So it's got to be self-directed out of it is my take on it.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
So I know we totally diverge, but that's how this album is good because the subject matter is very good and it tells the stories. You know what I mean? I think it's good. So
yeah, and it's extremely relevant even now,
yeah.
even more so now. So yeah.
Well, Mark, we spent a long time on the first song, so what are we talking
Well,
about?
luckily the album's only 7 songs, so it's okay.
Right. The next song is My Ashes. I'll play a clip from that. I love the Mellotron too.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Acoustic. It's piano. Very nice.
Yeah, I love the piano.
All the things wasted my chances. I have found myself wanting. When a mother and father gave me their problems, I accepted them all. Nothing ever expected. I was rejected, but I came back for more. And my ashes drift beneath the summer sky, where a boy rides on a bike but never smiles. And my ashes fall on all the things we said, on all the box of photographs under the bed.
Oh, well, that was a clip from My Ashes. So I'll go first, of course, Mark. I thought this was a really nice song. Beautiful sounding, beautiful mellotron piano. I think there's real strings in the chorus too. I have a note here that says London Session Orchestra.
Yeah, a guy named Dave Stewart.
Okay. This one is one that you can sit there and kind of vibe out to. It's a little depressing of a song. I think one of the things that maybe Mark originally put me off from Porcupine Tree originally, and I don't have that same issue now, but maybe at the time I was so used to listening to prog like Rush and Dream Theater and stuff like that, and none of that music is really very depressing, you know. And maybe I just wasn't in the mood for depressing prog music. I don't know, but now that I listen, I'm in a different space now. But so I can listen to it. But yeah, I thought this song was a very nice song, a good song. In fact, I think on first listen, I might have liked it even more than the first song, to be honest with you. But they're both good. Both songs are good. That's what I'm saying. But I like it. What did you think about this song?
Yeah, I mean, this is a band that has ballads that like I love their ballads because like we did a couple videos on The Cure, who I love, who is an incredibly depressing band. I really like depressing music, and I don't know why. Maybe because it invokes the best emotions out of me when I listen to it. I don't know. I've always really liked depressing music.
What's weird?
I'm not really
Yeah.
a depressed person, like honestly.
Yeah.
I
What's
think
weird
I'm
is
pretty.
you know
Good.
me, Mark. I do like depressing music, but maybe it's just I never equated prog with depressing music. So maybe I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But yeah.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Where was I?
Depressing music.
I don't think I'm like a depressed person. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody has depression to an extent. I'm not someone that like sits around and gloats all day, but
Sure.
depressing music has
Yeah.
always been really strong with me. And these lyrics, I mean, besides like, excessive screen time, they don't really like hit too much home with me. Like
Mm-hmm.
this song is, I think, pretty safe to say about like a broken home,
Mm-hmm.
somebody who hates having their home life and would wish to escape,
Mm-hmm.
with like finding pictures under their bed or whatever. So I think I relate to this album just because of like it's depressing and I like depressing stuff.
Right.
But like I love progressive music too. I love Steven's vocals. I think his vocals are great. And like the strings on this song are great. Uh, I know I'm normally not a ballad guy, but in the case of Porcupine Tree, I love their ballads. Uh,
Okay.
Pretty much every one of them that I've ever heard, honestly. Yeah, I think this is a great track. I don't necessarily think it's the best,
Mm.
but I think it's a wonderful interlude between the first track and the next track, which are fairly long,
Mm-hmm.
especially the second one, and really more straightforward rockers. So it's a nice interlude break in between. musically, I think the song is incredible too. Like you said, the strings are amazing. Nice soft guitar, mellotron, beautiful. Yeah, I like this song a lot.
I've noticed from an album flow perspective, and then move on to the next song, that a lot of really good albums or great albums tend to have a ballad as the second song, which you wouldn't think to do. At least I wouldn't. but I can think of like Images and Words is one that has that. Speaking of Dream Theater, Octavarium has that. The Super Trooper has it with Winner Takes It All. This album has it.
You know what else has it?
Yeah,
Foxtrot by Genesis.
that's one we got to review because I have that vinyl, but I haven't listened to it yet.
So it seems like a big thing with like prog albums is they start off with a really strong track, a really big one, and then they're like, all right, we got to slow it down. They throw a ballad in there, and then they go right back into it again
Right.
because Foxtrot starts with Watcher of the Skies, which is an awesome track. Then it goes to Timetable, which is a ballad, and then it goes to Get Him Out by Friday, which is kind of like a jokey track, but still very progressive. So,
Okay. All right.
So when we eventually listen to that album, you'll see.
All right. Well, Mark, let's talk about the next song, which is a almost 18-minute song called Anesthetize.
Anesthetize. It's a tough word.
Excuse me. Anesthetize. Sorry. All right. Here we go.
I love how they just drop it right in the middle of the album.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Very cinematic, the song. Yeah. The drums sound great too. This one.
Yeah, Gavin Harrison's a beast.
Yeah.
There's some parts in this first part that are in 5/4.
Yes. I'll go with that. Is there any? Since this is an 18-minute song, Mark, is there certain timestamps you want me to play? Because I can start at the beginning. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Alex Lifeson has a guitar solo in the song, so if you'd like to hear
around
that,
4 minutes, I think.
yeah, like 4:05, 4:02, 4:02.
All right, here we go. Oh, that goes into this cool riff too.
Another timestamp would be 6:14.
All right. Yeah, this great riff. And how about 12 minutes? How about that one? I mean, that's the one I had written down. Let me hear this clip. This. That little riff at the top, and then it breaks down really nice and all right. So I'll give my thoughts about this one, Mark. So this is a prog epic. Now, I'm a big fan of prog epics, as you know. And I'm a fan of this one. So yeah, the overall, I really love the flow of this song. It's kind of divided in three parts from what I was gathering.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of has this nice build. And then that Alex Lifeson solo is just really melodic.
Mm-hmm.
A very classic Alex Lifeson solo, kind of
Yeah.
frenetic, but melodic.
Right.
Um, and yeah, and that builds into that great riff that you were talking about. And then it builds and builds, and it gets heavier and heavier, and it kind of gets complex. And at the last, like, I don't know, few minutes or so, it gets really soft. And I think, you know, this for me is top two on the album. There's only 7 tracks, but it is a top two song. This is one that I wrote down some time signatures. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm right about this. I was hearing some 6/8 in that. I was
Mm-hmm.
looking it up too, and some people said it was like a 9/8, but I didn't catch that. But this was one that I'm going to have to listen to multiple times because it's almost like 3 songs in one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So, but I did listen to it 3 times, but even 3 times for an 18-minute song is kind of not enough to really fully appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say this, for me, it was a top 2 song on the album.
Yeah.
The riffs are great. The guitar solo is great. I mean, another thing that's great about this record is as you were mentioning, the engineering. So how good the guitar sound, how good the keyboard sound, right? Everything sounds great. I would say for me personally, the that's not really a criticism. Maybe it's just personal preference. It's not a criticism at all, actually. I wish the drums were a little more punchy sounding, but
Mm.
in the mix. But other than that, they sound really good though. They've recorded very well. So yeah, I would say one of the best songs on the record. A really awesome prog epic. One that not only do I have to listen to more times, one that I'm going to listen to more times. So, so there you go. That's my take on it. What about you?
So can you go to 10 minutes and 28 seconds for me real quick?
All right, sure.
Just want to hear this riff real quick.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Ah, so good, man. God. He can write some mean licks, man. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
this whole section is probably maybe the best, like my favorite part of that you mentioned it.
Yeah.
The riff is great. There's a song that came out way after this, but it reminded me of this a little bit. Have you ever heard "Keys to the Imagination" by? It's on Liquid Tension Experiment 3.
I've listened to that album once or twice, and I don't really
Okay.
remember it, so that means I have to listen to it
So
again.
there's a middle section in that reminds me a lot of this riff right here. So I
Okay.
mean, I have no idea if they were influenced. Riffs are riffs. It could be a lot of similar riffs. But when I heard this, I'm like, oh, it kind of sounds like Keys Imagination a little bit, but vice
Mm.
versa. You know what I mean? So because this came out way before that. So yeah, very good, very good. A great. I would say great song, not just very good. Great song.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
when you get a song that's almost 18 minutes on an album,
Yeah.
chances are it's probably going to be arguably the best on the album. That's not necessarily always the case, but
Sure. Sure.
I mean, let's go back in time. Let's go back in history to some old prog epics. Let's see. Close to the Edge, incredible song. 2112, incredible song. Cygnus X1 Book 1 or Book 2, excellent song. Uh Starless from Red by King Crimson,
Hmm.
excellent song. I mean, I know like you can't judge a book by its cover with length, but like you said, this is like 3 songs in one. Um the beginning with the Alex license solo is incredible. The
Hmm.
middle section with just like that heavy ass like super like metal part like the with like the crushing drums. And then you have that awesome riff towards the end too, and then it just kind of slows down and just gets really soft towards the end with like his really nice vocals and um great keyboards throughout. I just this like you said, this album has a great flow to it, and they put a freaking 17, 18-minute song right in the middle of the album.
Yeah.
Like the first time I listened to this album, I didn't even like look at the track listing, and like I kept looking at the track, and I was like, this track is still on. Like I'm like, didn't I listen to this track like 15 minutes ago? And
The cool,
I
the
looked at
cool.
I looked at the
Sorry.
time, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's 18 minutes long. Okay.
The cool thing about the vinyl is this is one side, this
Yeah,
one song, which is pretty cool. So,
that is pretty great.
by the way, recommend the vinyl. Vinyl's really good.
Mm.
Very good. So yeah, you can tell Steven Wilson is a vinyl guy because out of we did this solo album, and I listened to that vinyl and this one, and you can tell he takes it pretty seriously, all that stuff. So yeah, very good. So the next one, Mark, is Sentimental. All right, let's play a clip from that.
Never wanna be old, and I don't want dependence. It's no fun to be told that you can't blame your parents anymore. I'm finding it hard to hang from a star. I don't wanna be, never wanna be old. Someone brought the kids stay, and in this way we should wait each day. Stumbling on the kids play, and in this way we should wait each day.
All right, Mark. That was a clip from Sentimental. When my first listen, this was one of my favorite tracks actually on my first listen.
It's a good one.
I really liked it. In fact, I have a note here, Mark. The song is in 4/4, but the way that the piano is subdividing that 4/4 pretty cleverly. There's like 4 bars of 3 and then 1 of 4, which equals 16. Yeah. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's how it's going, and it's pretty clever subdivision for a straight time, and it has a really nice rhythm to it. I love the chorus in this song. Really beautiful melody. Lyrically, it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
What I got out of it was maybe some lyrics I have noted here. So I've grown tired of entropy, and maybe that's I know that's coming from thermodynamics about gradual decline into disorder, but maybe it's like a metaphor for apathy potentially. And because it says like I wish I was old and a little sentimental. Here's to the future. I'll put my heart in. So maybe it's like maybe it's talking about feeling apathetic and wishing you were sentimental or wishing you were older so you could look back on something nostalgically or have a sentimental thought. So it's like kind of saying maybe I don't have it right now, which I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's what I was getting out of it. So what did you think about this song?
Yeah, I mean, you have Anesthetize, which is an 18-minute song, bookended by 2 phenomenal ballads.
Right.
Now, which one is the better? I don't know if I could pick, honestly, because I think
Sure.
they're both in their own way. I prefer Steven's vocals on this song. I think they're really, really good, very sullen. they hit really really well on this song, I think. Musically, this song isn't anything special. It has a nice like piano melody that plays throughout. It's got some, a little bit of drums in there. Lyrics wise, so the history with this song is they have an EP that came out at this time called Nil Recurring,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically like
Okay.
Amnesiac.
Okay.
So it's like Amnesiac to Kid A for Radiohead. It's like
Mm.
a couple unfinished songs or rejected songs or songs that they partially worked on. Um, there's a song on that album called Normal,
Mm.
which is the first version of the song. So they recorded both. They recorded the song Normal and then this song. So they have like very similar aspects. They have like the same chorus basically, like the same vocals. So if you like this album, I
Yeah.
highly suggest going and listen to that EP because it's really
Okay.
good. It's
Sure.
like
Yeah.
it's like basically a continuation of this album.
Hmm.
But lyrically, I agree with you. I think it's somebody who at first, looks at getting old as being a burden, um, and they don't want to be a burden on somebody. But as time goes on, um, they realize that they're not really doing anything, and they think that, if they were old and they had something good to look back on, that they would like that more.
Mm.
Um, so that's kind of what I took from this song. I think this is another excellent song, another great ballad from that's coming from a ballad hater, a general ballad hater.
Sure.
I love both ballads on this album. I think this album is great. I don't think there's no weak track on this album. So.
Right. Okay. The next one is Way Out of Here. I'm gonna play a clip from that.
Featuring Robert Fripp.
That's true.
Out at the train tracks, I dream of escape. But a song comes onto my iPod, and I realize it's getting late. I can't take the staring and the sympathy.
So this is the intro, but I want to play.
I got one for you too.
Go ahead. What's timestamp?
Play play the chorus first if you can.
What's
if you can find it.
timestamp?
I have a different timestamp. Oh, all right.
There it is. Do you have another timestamp too?
Yeah, 4:47.
All right, 4:47. All right, let's see.
Gavin going fucking crazy.
That was some clips from Way Out of Here. So here's my review, Mark. It's my favorite song on the album. There
So
you
I
go.
was right. I was right. Woo! Guess what, Troy? It's mine too. That's why I said it.
All right.
It might even be my favorite Porcupine Tree song that I've heard, honestly. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You
Yeah, I would say I've heard the Stephen Wilson solo album, which obviously I really liked. I even bought the vinyl after listening to it. That's how you know I really like it. But this is probably the best Stephen Wilson song I've heard so far. So yeah, that's what related song I can say. I mean, everything about this song is good. I mean, everything from the lyrics are good. The lyrics, what I learned was it's about a 17-year-old fan who was killed by a train.
Yeah.
Listening to Porcupine Tree's music, apparently. So I don't know all the details, but something I read. But aside from that, musically, the way it builds, Robert Fripp's guitar, it's kind of on this ambient loop. The chorus is the best chorus on the album. And the riff you just played, that whole section building into the chorus, the song just builds and builds and builds and builds, and then it just gets I would say this is definitely the best song on the album, for sure, in my opinion. Second best would be the 18-minute song.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a song I could listen to anytime, on repeat. It's a highlight, a progressive rock, not just on this album, but just in general. It's just a fantastic progressive rock song and metal.
Yeah.
So, how about you? Since it's your favorite, what do you think about it?
I mean, from the first second I heard this song, it has like everything I could possibly want from this band. It has lovely vocals. His vocals are just spot on this whole album, especially this song. Like the chorus is just so beautiful. The instrumentation is incredible in this song too. Like you said, how it builds. I mean, in that section, that Meshuggah-esque section where it's just like a heavy ass riff.
Right.
I mean, Gavin's going absolutely apeshit on the drums there. Richard's keyboards are just spot on this album. You got Robert Fripp's soundscapes, which is just like a guitar loop basically. And I believe this is the only song on the entire album, maybe even in their entire discography, that is actually written by all four members. I don't know if that makes it better. Obviously it does, because this song's incredible. Listen, if I'm picking a song that's not the epic on the album, that song's special. This song is it's beautiful. It's the one I revisit the most on the album. If I had to pick one song on the album, it would definitely be this track. And I love all the tracks on the album. This album, I really do. But just something about this song it really sticks in me. And yes, it is about a fan, I believe, that did. I don't know. I didn't know he got hit by a train. That would make sense because he says train tracks. But yeah, that makes it even more special in the context of this album. Yeah, I I actually said that to you as a joke because it's my favorite. I kind of thought maybe it would be, or Anesthetize, but yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised that this is also your favorite. So
it's definitely. Yeah. I would say, it's nothing else to say, but definitely my favorite. It's the one I listen to the most too, because I listened to the whole album 3 times, but I listened to the epic another time, and I listened to this song like 3 more times. So to give an example. All right. So the last song is Sleep Together. And no, I don't think it's talking about
no, it's
romantic love. All right. Let's hear a clip from this one.
This means out. This is your way out. Do or drown. Do drowning torpor. Leave no trace.
So, you know, the first thing I thought, so this is a clip from Sleep Together. The first thing I thought of, Mark, when the drums came in, I was like, oh, it kind of sounds like a little bit like Downward Spiral. Yeah, that's one thing I felt that a little
I
bit.
guarantee you that he's a big Nine Inch Nails fan.
Yeah, I heard that in this song, which is cool because Downward Spiral is one of the best albums in the '90s. So
Great
the all right, my review of this song, Mark. Well, musically, it's very cool. It has a Downward Spiral-esque feel to it, Nine Inch Nails style feel. Not as aggressive as Nine Inch Nails, but it has that type of feel. The lyrics, though, Mark, we need to talk about that. It seems to me, and I don't know, but it seems to me like a Sleep Together is talking about potentially creating a pact to unalive yourself.
Yes.
That's probably you can put it.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said.
But at the end, it does seem like the lyrics. There's a lyric that says, "Or should we try to get some sleep?" Meaning like it's a little ambiguous. You don't really know if they went through with it or not. You know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like it's coming from a place of making it seem like a good thing. It seems like a place of making it seem like a really bad thing. And so it's a very dark song. And you can see that it definitely follows the theme from the earlier, songs. And it's kind of a logical conclusion to the problems that we're facing, that the youth are facing in particular, but even not just youth, I mean, most older people, including people older than me, maybe the boomer generation, are, to be honest with you, chronically online. And it's just worse for the kids, you know what I mean? But it's not just about the kids anymore. So yeah, I can see that. It's like, it's not a fun place to be when human beings lose connection. And unfortunately, texting or tweets or whatever. Yeah, and all of this TikTok kind of just superficial stuff. I don't really think it's a real human connection, I mean, we're not hanging out in person here, but at least we're talking about music and fun stuff and life and
Yeah, we have been with each other in person though, so it's not
that's true. That's true. But even I'm saying that it's at least one level beyond just like social media posts, you know what I mean, or just playing a video game, because obviously playing video games is fun, right? It's a fun thing, but it is a way of disassociating. And again, there's nothing wrong with doing that sometimes, but I don't want to rehash that. But I'm just saying, lyrically, obviously, it's sad. Talking about a dark subject matter. Musically, though, let's talk about that. Musically, it's a very cool song. It's definitely like coming from the last song, which was the extreme highlight for me. It's almost impossible to follow that song up. So you would have to follow up with a song just as good or even better. Like, you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's always going to seem like a bit of a letdown after that song. But I will say this, it is a nice depressing closer. So if you can think about that. And in the same vein as the Downward Spiral. So the Downward Spiral has that depressing, as it gets to the end, it gets, has a depressing closer. So you can see that pattern there. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this is like more like, this is kind of like harkens back to like their more not symphonic, their more psychedelic stuff.
Okay.
With that that like pulsing like keyboard throughout the whole song. It almost gives it like a hypnotic feel to it, which I think really suits the song a lot, because I agree that this could be um, seen as like a pact of unaliving each other's selves.
Mm-hmm.
I think this could also be an illusion for like going into like an extreme like drug like binge as well.
Okay. Okay.
Like let's sleep together right now, relieve the pressure somehow, switch off the future right now. Let's leave forever. Like you could say either leave forever as like, oblivion, or you could say leave forever as in like I never want to come out of this like drug binge. I
Okay.
never want to face reality. I want to be like high all the time. I don't
Right.
want to I don't want to deal with reality. Um and I think that's pretty awesome because you don't really see that kind of ambiguity and like dual meaning in like progressive rock very often.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know if this was his intention when they wrote the lyrics. It may not be. He could just like kind of toot as it was, like, yeah, I meant it for it to be like that. But that's why I just love music so much because you could take it any different way, lyrically.
Yeah.
I was Before we started this channel, I was never a huge lyric guy, but as we've done it more and listened to more albums and we study the music more, lyrics have become much more important to me as
Oh,
as I
cool.
see stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
which is
That's
which is
pretty cool.
great, which is really
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
because I never really cared as much before as I do now. So, um, I think this is a great album ender, especially with the way it ends and it kind of just like they kind of just say like leave forever over and over, and it's just kind of looped infinitely at the end of the album.
Yep.
Um, I think it's a great closer. I agree with you. Following Way Out of Here is like that's like coming on after like Zeppelin just played basically. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Right.
I think with what they have that it's the best they could have done.
Sure. Sure.
I think it's a great ending to honestly, this album has really climbed up my rankings of like progressive rock albums and just rock albums in general, honestly.
Okay.
It's just it's so somber and like the music is great and I don't know, it just hits with me.
Well, I would say,
I
yeah.
vibe with it.
I would say for me, obviously, I haven't spent enough time with it to really be able to rank it compared to other things. But I can
Yeah.
say this: it is an album I liked a lot, and it's one I'll listen to more. I have the vinyl. I listened to it on vinyl twice, and then I listened to it on streaming today
Mhm.
while I went for a walk. So two different environments: one just sitting and listening, one walking, and both were sounded really good. But it was enjoyable. And then I listened to that the epic an extra time, and I listened to the song a few more times. So I think, Mark, this is one that, especially the epic, right? I need definitely a few more listens to really soak in. But this is one you can put on and listen to front to back, kind of like this Stephen Wilson solo album, similar
Yeah.
that way. You just put it on, you listen to front back and enjoy it. And as long as you don't want to be listening to something super happy, if you're in the mood for it,
Yeah.
well, I'll be honest with you. There was a point where I listened to it twice, and I was like, I gotta listen to something else to like, you know
You
what I
getting
mean?
too depressed,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, I gotta cleanse my palate before I can go back to it again. So I actually listened to that Keys to the Imagination because I was like, am I wrong? Does it sound like that or not? And then I listened to that, and that song was like just rockin' jamming song.
Hmm.
So that was a nice palate cleanser. It was like, I mean, it does kind of sound like the Porcupine Tree song. So yeah, I would say, Mark, thanks for recommending this. It's one that it's time will tell if I like it better than the Steven Wilson solo album because I really like that solo album.
Me too.
But um, it's grown on me each listen. And that one song in particular is probably my favorite out of all the Steve Wilson songs I've heard so far, Way Out of Here. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to more listens on this one and potentially another Porcupine Tree album in the future.
Yeah. Sure.
So, well, if you're still watching this, it's about an hour. Thank you very much. You're probably a really, really cool person. If you're watching an hour-long episode about a prog rock album for Porcupine Tree, I know you're cool. And you know what? We're looking for really cool people like you to join our free community. We have a free Discord, and it's a big music club, and there's prog stuff. There's all kinds of music being talked about in there. All free. You can join that. The link for that will be in the pinned comment. We'd love to see you there. Again, there's no money at all for that one. And and if you like this episode, please give us a like. Obviously we do something beyond just reaction videos. We try to really deep dive into the music, try to appreciate it, try to review it, and even dive into the lyrics, because we think music is something that's beyond just something you listen to in the background, right? It's something that can impact your life and stay with you forever. So, and that's why we're doing this channel. We're looking for things that we want to listen to for the rest of our lives, not just throwaway music, right? So thanks, Mark, for suggesting this one. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Let us know what you think in the comments. Please leave a comment. If you would be so kind, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. Only 5% of our viewers are subscribed, and it really does help the channel. So love to see you on future episodes, in the comments, in the Discord, etc. Right? Well, until next time, Mark.
See you guys. Thanks for watching.
See you later.